The Auburn Tigers take 2 out of 3 at home this weekend against the UConn Huskies. Let's talk about it on today's episode of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, Uptempo family? What is up, Auburn family? It's your boy Blake and Dustin. We are here to talk some Auburn baseball with you guys. Dustin, heck of a weekend at Plainsman Park. Unfortunately, we didn't get to watch the doubleheader Saturday. The weather, Mother Nature was involved. That was a bummer. But, man, how was your weekend? And eventually getting to watch Game 3 on the television, brother.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat the horse that we beat last weekend, bro. I'm going to leave it alone. But the same issue, and kind of in a different way, rears its ugly head. Game gets rained out Friday. The original plan, I guess, was to have the game televised Friday. You weren't going to get the Saturday game and then have the game Sunday again. You get rained out Friday, so you only get the Sunday game. Pretty frustrating. I think a lot of that is due to the amount of events that were going on at Auburn, right? You had a basketball game, you had an equestrian event that was televised, you had softball games as well. My understanding of it, because this issue came up last year, is that it's a school issue. So this isn't ESPN or anything like that. It's just that the school doesn't have the capacity to broadcast all those events going on at the same time. I'm not writing the checkbooks there, so I'm not trying to bash the school. I would just say that if you claim to be an everything school, let's maybe find a way to get everything out there to the people, right? Because I sure would have loved to have watched a doubleheader, but no less, we got to listen to it on the radio and then got to watch the boys close it out Sunday. And that's kind of my takeaway from this weekend, Blake, from a baseball standpoint is, hey, it didn't necessarily go the way you wanted it to Saturday, but for the first time this season, we got to see Auburn come into a Sunday with a series on the line, and they were able to handle business, and they showed up and won it 8-2. Pretty decisive. Really wasn't a doubt throughout it. They handled it. So from that standpoint, I think we learned something about the Auburn Tigers this weekend, and that's a good thing.
I like that take right there, Dustin. I like that. Getting your backs put up against the wall, and you got to come out on a Sunday, and you got to fight a little bit. And it was a close game, That Game 3, it was a close game, and Ike Irish, he took over, and I think that was a bright spot this weekend, and I think he's a bright spot in college baseball. Everybody knows my opinion on Ike. Me personally, you can call me a homer all you want to. I think he's the best player in college baseball. I know you got Cags down at Florida. You got the kid Georgia Tech. He's been sensational. You got the kid at Georgia, Condone. I believe that's his name. He's been phenomenal. There's a lot of guys out there in the country, but I'm just all over Ike Irish. I like what you said the other night. He should be in AA, and him playing college baseball is unfair. So, just heck of a performance from him all weekend. But Dustin, I wanted to go into that first game, and the Auburn Tigers get the victory, an 8-1 victory, and it was a very impressive. And one guy that I wanted your thoughts on was Chase also, and I think this is a guy that we have to highlight, a guy that got into some tough situations, and his back was up against the wall as well, and he fought out of it, and he made some big time pitches right here on the bottom line. It's 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 Ks. I think the 2 base on balls, in my opinion, is the big story here. Chase was getting the ball down. He was finding the strike zone. Dustin, what were your takeaways from Chase also?
It's been what we've been wanting to see, so it sucks we didn't get to see it. That's what I take away from it. But look, when we talk about we talked about the last couple of weekends with Chase, just knowing that it's all there and that it hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been good, and you got to the good. And I mean, 6 innings pitched, man, him only walking 2. You always talk about with Chase staying ahead in the count, not having to battle from behind, and he seemed like he had it going from the jump. And this is what we need, man, because I know it wasn't technically a Friday night, but going into these SEC series, if you can get this version of Chase Allsup, game 1, then you're looking at game 2 going, okay, I just got to find a win, man. And then what? So then you had Chase go, and then was it who came in after for Chase?
John
Friday?
Armstrong.
Yeah, so it's John. So you only throw when he gives you 6, Blake, and then John comes in and wraps it up. You've only thrown 2 arms. You're a whole game into a series, and you've used a total of 2 arms. That It's just Chase giving you 6 on the game one, man. It gets your bullpen off to a good start. It gets that whole bullpen, your rotation. Everybody's sitting pretty, man. Your arms are sitting nice when your Friday night guy sets the bar, and he did that. Man, shout out to Chase. If we can continue to get this, if he can find consistency, he doesn't have to be
Yeah.
this good every single night, but if he can be around this, a version close to this, then it's only going to help Auburn, man, and we're going to win a whole lot of series. And we're going to be up a whole lot of series 1-0 heading into Saturday if you get this version of Chase also.
That was my biggest thing coming into the season was could Chase also be that guy? And we need him to be that guy. We need him to get us off on the right foot. That 1-0 on Friday nights. And like
Yeah.
you said, you're just looking for that next win because at the end of the day in SEC series, you want to take 2 out of 3. I know you would love to sweep and get 3 dubs, but let's be realistic. It's probably not going to happen. SEC is the best baseball in the country. We all know that. Our boy Mikey Matuk, he was on here last year, and he was saying that it's equivalent to AA baseball, and that's a guy that played a couple years in the big. So, you know, you got Chase, and he's giving you 6, and like you said, you only use 2 guys on a Friday night, and in this case, a Saturday, because you had to play the doubleheader, but you're only using 2 arms, and you got a plethora of arms left. And John Armstrong, I think he deserves his flowers. I'll get to him in just a second. But Chase, Butch had a big thing with Chase in his presser, and I want to do a members pod on what Butch had to say about Chase, Dustin, and because I think this is a big deal. He said that Chase needed to just start getting it to the glove, and Chase's biggest issue is what he means by that is Chase was elevating pitches and everything was up in the zone. And Chase just had to get that down in the zone a little bit and find the glove. And you saw that from Chase Saturday. Less walks, wasn't hitting anybody. He was working ahead, staying ahead. When he did get in trouble, he worked out of it with big time pitches. We know the velocity on the fastball is there. So that is what we have to see from Chase. Because when I was in Jacksonville, a lot of people were saying that it looked bad, whatever. Chase didn't pitch bad in Jacksonville. He just had some unfortunate Texas leaguers. And, he had some walks, and that put him behind the 8 ball. But he battled, and that's what I want to see from Chase. You don't have to go out here and be perfect. I just need you to see, I need to see you battle. And I think Chase did that Saturday is he got in tough spots. He got the fastball to the glove, and he worked out of those jams. Got lazy fly balls, ground balls, and strikeouts. And that's what you want to see from Chase. So big kudos to Chase also. Big response. That is what Auburn's got to have. And John Armstrong, I'll be the first to say, brother has been absolutely electric every time he has stepped on the mound this year. That slider is absolutely filthy. Get a lot of swing and miss there. Running that fastball in on the hands has been really, really nice to see. And he's got that dog on the mound. Just got that dog. And that's a big piece that Auburn had returning. And you're looking to him to just keep going. We want to see it, especially when we get into SEC play. So that was a bright spot in game 1 on the mound. Dustin, when you look at in the Auburn lineup, you put up 8 runs. This Auburn team can hit. Who are some bright spots for you in that game 1?
Well, Cooper's getting going, and that's always good to see, right?
Yeah.
And we know that Coop can hit that ball a long way, and he continues to do that.
Yeah.
Bobby Pierce he has 3 RBIs in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
He threw a guy out Sunday. I'm sure we'll get to that. He continues to show you that on the base paths, in the outfield, at the plate, it doesn't really matter if it's baseball. Bobby Pierce is pretty damn good at it. Let's see who else. Chris went 0 for 3. Mason Mainers with 3 hits with 4 at bats. He had a good night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Ike with 2 hits. Ike just ripped the cover off the ball all weekend. Cooper Weiss with 2 hits and 3 at bats. 3 RBIs for him. Yeah. So listen, man, you know what Bobby's gonna do. You know what Ike is gonna do. Cooper didn't have the best game 1, but game 2 and game 3, Cooper came back. You look at the top of the lineup, Blake, and it's like you're getting to the point to where you know what to expect from these guys, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I know what Cooper Weiss is. I'm starting to know what Cooper Weiss is going to do. I know what Bobby Pierce is all about. I know what Cooper McMurray is all about. We all know what Ike Irish is all about. Derek Fabian announced his presence this weekend, like, "Hey y'all, what's up? I'm that guy." I'm starting to find out what he's all about. We know what Chris Stanfield can do. Mason Manners is showing a lot of potential. Um, Cole Edwards, excuse me, I was Hall at the DH spot, Christian Hall at the DH spot. I
Yeah.
do like Cole Edwards though. Um, yeah, I mean, there's really like I'm looking at guys, Blake, that I'm trying to name off all the guys that I'm like, okay, I trust. If it's 2 outs, a runner's in scoring position, who are the guys that I trust? Everybody I just named. That's a
Mhm.
pretty long list.
I'll tell you, this Auburn lineup is deadly. We can hit. We can hit, and we're deep. We got guys on the bench that can come off and hit. All right. You got guys like Gavin Miller, Cole
I like
Edwards.
Gavin.
Yeah, he can swing it. Um, you're deep. You got a lot of rotation, man, and that's a good thing. That's gonna play the deeper in the season, especially in conference play, and then when you get into regionals and super regionals, it's gonna play. So, and the biggest thing with Auburn right now is you're getting a lot of guys that are getting playing time, and you got a lot of young guys that are getting playing time too. That is what I'm really impressed with. Mason Mainers swinging it really really well. Love how he will lay down the bunt in any given situation. He does not care. He will lay that thing down, and it's a thing of beauty too. It's just another thing that adds to his game. He can hit the long ball. He can use the whole field. Really impressed with him. Cooper Weiss and his ability just to get on base and then swipe bags. He's creating offense for the Auburn Tigers. That's what I'm really impressed with Cooper. Um, and we obviously know Ike Irish, Bobby Pierce, Cooper McMurray. Like you said, Derek Fabian. Extremely impressed with Derek Fabian on defense and at the plate. The kid is an absolute star. One of the biggest pickups in the transfer portal in the country. All right. This kid is unreal. A true shortstop that is playing third base for the Auburn Tigers right now, but he's swinging it at a high rate as well. The kid can stroke. So, Javon Hernandez, I know I'm just looking at the weekend with Javon and him starting to come around, and you're starting to see that guy that we all expected, at the plate. So
Yeah.
I was really impressed with Javon this weekend. But that game one, man, Mason Mainers, you get your flowers, brother. Keep swinging it. Cooper Weiss, love to see it. Swiping bags, just creating offense. I was really, really impressed with game one from the Auburn Tigers, Dustin. So we moved to that game two. And this is where I kind of think it was a little unfortunate for the doubleheader because Ike not being able to catch the back to back doubleheader. You had to move some things around. You got to put Strickland behind the plate, and then you got to move Ike to that DH spot. It's tough because you got to rearrange your lineup right there. I was looking for 3 dubs. Obviously, it didn't work out like that. The Auburn Tigers fall, and it was a struggle, 8-4. We give up 6 in the first, and that's where I kind of want to start off with is Gonzo, Dustin, and him getting touched up. Man, he didn't even make it a full inning. He only lasted 2/3 of an inning. Is there any concern with you with Gonzo?
No, no. Look, there would be concern with me if it looked this way the first, his first 2 outings, but it didn't. So this is baseball, man. This is it's the way the game goes. You're just not gonna have your stuff some days. Like you said before we started recording, your ace is gonna get touched up sometimes. Now,
Yeah.
not even getting out of the first inning, 6 earned runs. That's tough. You walk a guy, you give up 4 hits. Pretty ugly performance, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't talking this way about Gonzo. This wasn't what you saw in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
and we weren't talking this way about Gonzo after the first weekend of the season. We were all super excited. So, nah, man, this is the way baseball goes, and he'll bounce back next weekend. You'll see. I think you'll see the normal Gonzo, and you'll get a good 5-6 innings out of him, and he'll be all good to go. I am not worried about Joseph Gonzalez whatsoever. This is the way the game goes, man. It's not football. You don't play 12 games. You play a whole lot of them. And even you've seen the greatest of baseball players go through month-long slumps sometimes in the big leagues, right? Like that's the
Mhm.
way baseball works. Did those guys Did they forget how to hit the baseball all of a sudden? I mean, you can look up dozens and dozens of Hall of Fame baseball players' career, whether they be a player, a position player, or a pitcher, and they all have stretches where they really, really struggled. You're going to be pretty hard pressed to find one that didn't. Um, it's part of the game, Blake. I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It happens, I think the one question that I do have with Gonzo is work that sink down, work that sinker ball down. That's Gonzo's action right there. Get it down. All right. And that was the one pitch that he messed up on in Jacksonville. He left it up.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left it up, they put it on the 50 over at Everbank. So it happens though, like I was telling you, you're gonna get touched up every now and then. I think get the command fixed, start pounding the strike zone like we know Gonzo can, and get that sinker action down, man. Keep it knee high, and just control the zone. And I think that's something that Gonzo will work on, and he will get it back. All right. I'm not pressing about Gonzo. Like we said, this is baseball and it happens. All right. Sometimes you just don't have your stuff, and that's the way it goes. The best of the best get touched up at the highest level, and it happens. So one thing that I think once Gonzo come out, I think a big part of this baseball game was Herbert Holtz coming in
Mm-hmm.
and giving us those innings and eating innings. There's a thing in baseball where when you're not when you're not on your day, all right, it's not your best day. You got to have a guy come in and eat some innings to save that bullpen for game 3.
Right.
All right. Even though Coop come in and hit a 2-run bomb, Ike hit one, they cut it to 6-3. All right, Herbert Holtz only gave up 2 runs after that in the job that he did, and he kept us in a tight ball game. Like he gave us the opportunity to win it. I think that was big, even though you might look at the box score and say, oh well, Christian Herbert Holtz, he come in and did this. I think it was absolutely huge going into Sunday for the Auburn Tigers. Just him coming in and eating innings, Dustin.
Yeah, he gives you 4 innings. He strikes out 5, doesn't walk any, gives up 2 earned runs. So, like you said, not your best day. He comes in, he eats some innings for you, get you to game 3, still with some arms in there. And we'll talk about game 3. So it didn't really matter once Cam Tilly got the ball, come to find out. But he got you there. So, yeah, and we saw Herbert Holtz last year. We know what he is. He kind of came on. Really, Blake, if you think about it, if you go back to when Auburn got it together last year, it's when the bullpen kind of started to get it together, and Herbert Holtz was a big part of that. And it's a good feeling to know that if we get into one of these games and our starting pitcher doesn't have it, there's a guy. Okay, we can call him up right now. He can come in and handle this because, if you're a bullpen guy and you're in the game in the second inning, a little bit earlier than you anticipated getting in there. So the psyche of that, him still being able to, like, basically you're a starter at that point. It's basically,
Yep.
you're basically, it's on you right now. And like you said, he kept us in the game, and he just kind of continued from that progression that he made last year. And that's something you talk about, how baseball is a weird game and it can be streaky and all that. It's always nice to see a guy kind of follow the natural progression, right? He's just slowly getting better. Every time you see Herbert Holtz, for the most part, and like we talk about with Gonzo, there'll be up and down outings for sure. But if you look at
Yeah.
his career as a whole, you've watched Herbert Holtz get better at Auburn, and that's a lot of fun that he continues to do that.
You hit the nail on the head, brother. And when I say he kept us in the game, he kept us to where we had an opportunity, and we left the bases loaded 3 innings in a row. Dustin couldn't come up with the big hit. A little demoralizing there when you got your big sticks up and you're looking for that clutch base hit, and you can't come through, and you lose by 4, and you were just looking at it, all the runners you left on base in that second game, and you were like 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. I mean, that is just that's painful. That's painful, and we know this Auburn lineup can hit, but when that happens, that's a tough pill to swallow, brother.
Yeah, for sure. But again, I wanted 3, and you make a good point. If it would have been Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do you get 3? But at the same time, would you trade it? Like, you still won the series, and like I said, I take it like you learned something. And then I also heard Butch saying that he's like, listen, I don't like the way we responded in game
Hmm.
2 of the doubleheader, but we got our first doubleheader out of the way now. We're gonna face that again at some point in the season. He said now we kind of learn from the mistakes that we made, and ultimately, hopefully, we can build off of those things and get that second win, or at least look better. And ultimately, like, I don't think you played bad in game 2. Gonzo just kind of dug you a really big hole.
Yep.
And he's not going to do that too many more times this year. Again, it's just baseball, but that's what happened. Your starting pitcher put you in a really big hole that the rest of the team just couldn't climb out of. So ultimately, we're looking at the weekend as a whole. I thought we played good baseball the whole time.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And you're gonna have, like we say, man, you're gonna have those days. And at the end of the day, you won the series, and you like I said earlier, you're always looking to win 2 out of 3. If you win the series, that's what matters at the end of the day, and that's what Auburn did. And you couldn't get the big hit, but you responded in game 3. And Carson Myers gets the start in game 3. You had some big time swings in this game, Dustin. What did you think about Carson Myers on the bump and Cam Tilley, the superstar freshman, coming in?
I think we've seen enough of Carson Myers now to know that he's a consistent, right? Like, he's going
Yes.
to come out there, and at the very least, he's going to be solid. And I'm sure there'll be a time when he has a bad day, and you can pull this clip and say, "Well, he wasn't always solid." But listen, man, like, from everything we've seen so far, this dude, he's going to come out there and he's going to compete. He's going to
Yep.
keep you in the ball game. He talked about the big hole that Gonzo dug us. We haven't seen that so far from Carson Myers in his 3 starts. Consistent, solid. I think the word that comes to mind when I watch him pitch is steady. It
Yep.
just it looks steady, man. It looks steady. He doesn't look like he's trying too hard. He doesn't look like he's struggling, even if he is behind in the count. He just kind of looks steady, calm. Like, I got this. I can handle my business. So he just continues to do what we've seen from him so far. And then Carson Tilley was really like the standout of the weekend for me, because a lot of the guys that showed out, we've seen them show out before. 4 innings pitched, man, only giving up 1 earned run, struck out 2, only walked a guy, just stayed ahead in the count. Let's talk about steady. He looked pretty damn steady, looked in control the whole time. And then I think that some crucial plays, Blake, talking about this game 3, Chris Stanfield made a catch in the top of the 5th where there was a runner on first and second.
Yep.
1 out. He makes a catch there over the shoulder, a ball that was about to get in the gap. I thought that was huge. Obviously, top of the 4th, Bobby Pierce throwing a runner out at home saves you a run. So I just felt like those are 2 plays right there where you can point at the outfield and say there's at least 2 runs that you saved. You can make the argument on the Stanfield one, maybe 3 runs total. So we talk a lot before the season, Blake, about the defensive prowess of this outfield, and Sunday's game might look different if it wasn't for a couple of plays by your outfield, in my opinion.
Great point. Great point. Carson Myers, competitor, dog, doesn't have overpowering stuff, not going to blow it by you by any means, just paints corners, throws strikes, and works to get weak contact. I've been super impressed with him. I think he's just that dog, man. He's got that moxie on the mound, and that's what we love to see. I know he did have 4 walks. The later in the game, he got in that 4th inning, started losing command a little bit, but just an overall competitor, and just got that dog, and that's what you got to have with a Sunday guy. And anytime Auburn trots him out on a Sunday, and we're in need of a dub or a series win, I am 100% confident in Carson Myers and his ability to pitch in big time moments. I
Let me
think
ask you
he
this,
is that
Blake.
dude.
And his 3 appearances that we've seen him so far, would you say that this was probably when his stuff was the least? Like, this has been his I say his worst. I'm trying not to say worst, but
Yeah,
I guess his worst performance of the 3.
yeah.
And so I would agree with you there. And then, even that being the case, he still gives you 4 innings, only 1 earned run. Like,
And
I
where
mean,
it all comes down to is where we're putting all of this together with John Armstrong coming in game 1 and Herbie coming in game 2. You still had your full bullpen to work with. So when Cam Tilley comes in, all right, you're sitting here going, okay, well, if Cam comes in, he struggles. I can go to Tanner Bauman. I can go to Zach Crotchfield. I can go to whoever. All right, and Cam Tilley, look, the velocity is there. He can snap it with the best of them. The deuce is sick. Everything about him is absolutely filthy. and he's dude, you're turning to a freshman in a deciding rubber match to come in a close game, in a one-run game, and say, "Here you go, kid. All right, true freshman, go spin it. Give us the opportunity to win." And he did that. So like Cam Tilly, a dog, big arm for Auburn. He's going to play the later in the season. Going to throw big time innings in conference play. Just really, really big time for the Auburn Tigers. Will Cannon coming in, closing the door in the ninth. That was huge for the Auburn Tigers. And I'll tell you this: I know Ike's not getting enough credit on the Bobby assist in that fourth inning,
Yeah.
but the play he made at the plate was absolutely sick, man. You're seeing the talent of Ike Irish and what he can do behind the plate. Kid is he's unfair, bro. He is just unfair. When I'm telling you, I think he's the best player in college baseball. I absolutely mean it, Dustin. Behind the plate, he can go out there and play the outfield. He can play first base. He hit 2 bombs. I mean, the kid is unbelievable. Like last year, we were sitting here saying that, maybe Ike needed to lift it a little bit more. We were looking for that power. And then this year, hello, I mean, the kid is swinging it with the best of them. He's hitting it for pop all around the yard. I just can't, I can't say enough about him, bro. Like, he's unreal on the diamond. And I think a big thing too is, Cooper Weiss has probably his worst game all. I'll go ahead and say it. He probably has his worst game all year Sunday. Buddy went 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. But guess what? That's just how deep this Auburn baseball lineup is. Is when one of your best guys has that kind of day, you still have the ability to put up the runs that you did. Like, they're deep, man. Ike Irish with big swings. Derek Fabian got it started. Derek Fabian hit that ball to the absolute moon, brother. I mean, you hang it, we bang it, is what he said. 3-run shot to get it going. He was big time. Like you, like you said, man. That just the catch from Bobby, and then to just make the perfect throw, and for you to try. Obviously, you didn't. Obviously, you didn't read the scouting report, brother. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing there? And I get it. You haven't put up a whole lot of runs, a whole lot of offense. UConn, he was hitting 233 as a team. You were trying to scratch a run there, but man, to run, I don't know if he thought that the ball was a little deeper than what it was, but to run there was risky. You got doubled up to end the inning, and the old rule is you never make the third one at the plate. So
Mm.
a tough spot there. Um, Game 3, Javon Hernandez, he was a bright spot. I really enjoy watching him play baseball. Hopefully, he can come around and be that guy. I think he is on his way to doing that, Dustin. I'm really impressed with this baseball team, and like you opened up with, is the ability to get your backs pushed up against the wall. You're at home. You come out in a game 3, a deciding rubber match, and you find a way to get the job done. It was close there for a minute before the Auburn Bats really started waking up and cooking.
Mm.
That was something that really stuck out to me, is you got tested this weekend and you responded. So big props to this lineup, big props to this pitching staff, this coaching staff. Really excited about this Auburn baseball team.
Yeah, co-sign everything you said. The Air Force series has got moved around. It was supposed to be Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, so it's gonna be raining all week. So Wednesday, right? Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Plainsman Park. $2 hot dogs apparently. So if you're in town, man, get out there. And I plan, weather permitting, I plan on being at Plainsman this weekend to cover the series. So I'm looking forward to that. If you do see me, come up and holler at me, man. But I'm really excited about this baseball team, Blake. We're sitting here at 9-2. The way I view it is you've won all 3 series, because I know you went down to Jacksonville and you played 3 different teams, but you played 3 games, you won 2 of them,
Mhm.
and then the one you lost, you looked impressive. So, and then the only other loss you have this year was the back end of a doubleheader, right? So I think this baseball team's sitting pretty. We've handled our midweek business with ease so far. So do that again this week versus a 4-7 Air Force team. Shouldn't be any issues there. And let's get it ready for another big weekend at Plainsman, man. I'm really excited about where we're sitting. And right now, Blake, this team's kind of shown me enough. I've seen enough in like non-conference, right? Like I'm ready to get to this SEC now and
Yeah.
really kind of see how we stack up. So it's just about you know, staying hot, continuing to do the right things, cleaning up the little things and all that kind of stuff, and getting to the SEC portion of the schedule healthy. But tons of excitement around this baseball team. They've earned it, man. So I hope that this week we have 4 games at Plaisman. I hope they're all 4 packed out, and I hope the crowd's super hyped because the boys deserve it.
100%, Dustin, and that's the biggest thing with me. And my final thoughts is you want to be the big dog on campus, which I think you are. I think Auburn baseball is the best sport on campus right now. That is my opinion. I think if you want to be that, though, you got to step up to the plate in SEC play, and you got to contend with the big dogs. All right, you got to be the LSU's, the Vanderbilts, the Arkansas's. And we have the opportunity. We got Tennessee at the crib this year. I think that's going to be a big opportunity. So I'm with you. I want to see this team moving into conference play. We know what this team can do non-con. And I think we're going to have another big week. Air Force and Austin P. And look, that series this weekend ain't one to sleep on. Now they went to Starkville and handled business. All right, they can hit, they can pitch. They're going to make you make the mistakes. All right, they're going to play really sound baseball, really fundamental, really really good team. So don't sleep on that series. That's going to be a tough one. So a big opportunity for Auburn baseball. And we're excited here at the Uptempo podcast, Dustin. We will be back Tuesday night at 7, right?
Yes, sir. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Lots of spring practice stuff to talk about, Blake. Them boys out there popping pads and all that. So you already know we're gonna get into all that, brother.
Let's go, baby. Hey, see y'all Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. We'll close it out with a War Damn Eagle.
War Damn, baby.